I think for me it's the non-seriousness with which governance institutions view the issue of women is where the real challenge is.
But I would say to you that I would look beyond government. Modern media, modern television, modern everything else, it's increasingly reinforcing the role of the woman as almost like a symbol of commerce, a symbol of not adulation but lust. I mean, how do we deal with these issues when we are trying to make the woman equal?
Thank you very much. I mean, that is a real problem. Commercialization of the woman's body is something that to be honest, I don't even begin.
If you want to buy a mobile phone, they want to titillate you with a woman. If you want to buy anything,
it has to be a woman.
And it is a reinforcement almost of the, what I call the Adam's rib role of women. I mean, is there any campaign going on in that area?
No, some of us are trying to say that for some of the things that we see out there, we should try and boycott them. But for instance, our organization will, for instance, not take funding from an organization or a company that we think is really exploiting women. Mm. So no matter how much money you want to give us for our work, we will not,
Because I say this because I think you are running into a serious problem with your campaign if the increasing regard of women as objects of men's desires, if I can put it, is not tackled as part of the campaign.
Well, maybe you're right. Maybe this is something that we have to do. But I mean, this evening I was just before I came, there was this the music video, and I just said, why would anybody allow herself to be used or misused this way?
That's almost like a translation of the traditional discriminatory practices into a modern, acceptable practice, which for me makes it very difficult for the fight for equality to succeed.
I don't know.
Let me finally ask you, with all of this, people are pushing for an affirmative action law. Is it just going to be another legislation? Well, what will make the affirmative action law different from all that has gone before?
We are certainly hoping that it will not be another.
What are the
on the
chances?
Shelf.
What are the chances for it? Well, you see, here we are. Governments have made promises. It didn't happen. And it's governments of all persuasions. The fight for women's equality seems stuck. And here we are. We say we're going to pass affirmative action. What is the intent of that law?
You see,
if you can share with us.
The law is supposed to create the conducive environment to ensure that women are also positioned. So when it comes to appointment, if the law says that government must have 50% or 40% women for all appointments, then there's a law.
So you're going to enshrine those things like they have in Europe and certain places where 50% of directors must be women,
and then they have to work towards it. And they are doing that. These are some of the things. But we are not only looking at appointments. When we are talking about, affirmative action, there are several. It's not only in terms of participation.
Give me some more stuff, yeah.
But in terms of, women can be discriminated against in the area of, say, health. Yeah. In the area of, say, even employment. There are certain areas that when it comes to, say, appointments, women are not allowed to go. If you don't go on certain courses, you're not allowed, to progress up the ladder. we are saying that in looking at all of these things, you need to be able to examine. If you're saying that you can only do this, or using people, sometimes decisions are taken at beer clubs and night clubs when the men meet, and you use that, the fact that I didn't join you in the evening for a drink where decisions were taken, should not be at my disadvantage.
Have you learned anything from the failure of the Disability Act to take off? That's
I think we have.
I will end it there. Thank you very much, Dorcas. It's been a fascinating, scintillating discussion. It really requires, I think, for us to look more and probably do more in terms of the areas of implementation and exposure of the issues of women. Well, viewers, thank you very much. We've done 13 weeks of Thousands Take. We've covered many, many, many areas and many, many subjects. We have some very fascinating guests. We've learned a lot. We'll be back for a second season. But let me thank you, those of you who have listened and have watched. And keep faith with us. We'll keep discussing matters of national and public interest.